right, you are back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So that was a rough one last night, wasn't it? Jesus Christ. I sat there for over an hour before I started recording. I just sat there in silence and I was doing all right, but I knew as soon as I opened my mouth to talk, I was going to fucking lose it. So that was about as composed as I was going to get. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who sent me a message. I fucking really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much to everyone who sent me a message. It was a fucking brutal day. I actually got back from a gig the night before, and it was like 11:30 p.m. and I checked my phone and I had a missed call from my dad, and I'm like, I just can't fucking deal with this now. I knew what it was, but I just wanted that little bit of extra time of having my nana there. I'm like, I'm going to go to sleep. She's still here. I'll fucking deal with it in the morning. And so in the morning, I had 2 missed calls from my dad and a message from my cousin. And I'm like, I still don't really want to deal with it. So I went about my day in denial and I left my phone in my car. And when I got back to the car, I had a missed call from my dad again and my wife. So I'm like, my dad's obviously called my wife. So I called my wife and she's like, can you get some eggs? And I'm like, I think Nana passed away. And she's like, yeah, I wasn't going to tell you till you got home. And I'm like, okay, I'm coming. I'll get the eggs. Do you need anything else? She's like, can you grab oil too? I'm like, all right, I'll get some oil too. And then I kept myself together pretty good. I kept myself busy, so I was holding it together pretty good. And then I spoke to Dad, and Dad wasn't good. Dad was the biggest mama's boy of all time. So after speaking to him, actually during speaking to him, I started breaking down. And then that was pretty much me gone. That's until I went and did a gig. So I went out last night and did a gig in that condition. I just buried the shit. Went out, got to the gig early, and wasn't on till 11:30. So I was hanging out with all the comics. It was a long fucking night. And a listener of this podcast came and watched last night. So I just had to bury it for a few hours. Then on the drive home, it all came rushing back. By the time I got home, I was so fucking exhausted. Like fucking, I haven't been that exhausted in, I can't remember when. I could barely muster the energy to take off my fucking clothes, and then I just collapsed in bed and I just slept. I slept deep and long. And I didn't set my alarm because I didn't want to get disturbed in my sleep. I wanted to dream deeply. I was hoping Nana would come and see me. That happened when one of my friends passed away. About 3 days after he passed away, I had this dream. It was so fucking vivid. He was in some sort of waiting room to go into the afterlife, and somehow I ended up there with him, and there was a few other people there, and I'm speaking to him, and I was like, you know what's happened? He's like, yeah, I know. And I'm like, how do you feel about it? He's like, what can I do? He's like, stay here with me. And I'm like, nah, I've got to go back, man. He's like, nah, stay. And then I started panicking. I'm like, this cunt's going to try and make me stay here. I can't stay here. And so I said goodbye to him, and I exited through the urinal drain. I went down the urinal drain, and that's how I woke up. But I'm going to sleep in for like the next week because I'm sure Nana's going to find a way to make it into my dreams. I'd be more shocked if she didn't than if she did. And my dreams have been fucking jacked lately, so I'm open to it. I'm ready. And in Buddhism, apparently once you pass away, you go into like a 14-day transition or 12 days or something like that. So maybe if I'm in the right place at the right time in the dream world, I might get to cross paths with Nana one more time. I truly believe that as well. It probably sounds fucking nuts, but maybe I am nuts. Who gives a fuck? I sort of thought I was prepared because it was really inevitably going to happen pretty soon. She was a 90-year-old lady. She'd been through a fucking whole heap of shit, and it was just starting to deteriorate more and more. So it was inevitably going to happen. So I felt like I had prepared myself, but there is only so much you can prepare. Those really important people to you, maybe there's only a few of them in your life, but those really important people to you, you're not losing just the physical person. You're losing a symbol. You're losing a symbol. You're losing a symbol of love and strength and courage and bravery. You're losing a little part of yourself. It kind of feels like some chapter of my childhood is finished now. It's a weird feeling. But her funeral's tomorrow, so I'm going to cut tonight's episode a little bit short because I have to record something for them to play at the funeral. So I need to get onto that. Once again, thank you very much to everyone who messaged, everyone who listens. Thank you very much. I really appreciated it. I'm not just fucking saying that. But anyway, I'll try and crank out a funny one tomorrow. But for now, I'll see ya the fuck later.